Well, another thing is that when we had Jim on the show, this was back when we just did the little segment on the radio show, and we had Jim in for that.
Yeah, on the Cleveland.
Yes, and he was expressing a bit of frustration because the hoops that he would have to jump through to be able to produce beer and sell it to places like the Cork and Stogie or what have you. It was like a real pain in the neck. I remember him saying something about it, having to sell it to a distributor, having the distributor having to sell it back to him so he can bring it to wherever. Yeah. It's just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, they're three-tier. It's like this all over the country. It's a three-tier system where like the brewery can't sell directly to a bar. They have to go through a distributor.
Yeah,
and that was originally set up after Prohibition to help regulate stuff, and it's kind of like it's come full circle, and it's bit a lot of people in the
there's not
the old arse there, but
there's not a lot of legislation going on about it right now to try to fix it either.
Well,
not a lot of it. There's some, but not enough.
But I mean, the beer lobby is split. You have major breweries lobbying against craft breweries.
Yeah.
And then you have craft breweries lobbying for themselves. And so then you have somebody that has a lot of money trying to suppress somebody that has very little money.
Yeah.
And, well, we know how that works.
Well, that brings us into something we're going to get into today, and it's a perfect stepping stone. Because, we've talked about growlers here in Florida.
Yeah.
And right now, Dave, you're the publican here. Could you give us the current laws that have come into play that now allow you to sell growlers, and then we'll get into the new development that's happening as of we saw it in today's paper through AP.
The current laws are you are allowed to sell growlers, but you can the limitation is in the fluid ounces, and I think Danny's been researching this, so I'm gonna have to go to Danny because we've kind of stayed out of the growlers only because there's a lot going on, and growlers are expensive.
And stuff.
And be quite honest with you, Key West doesn't seem like a growler kind of place just yet. It will be.
I mean,
it will be.
I know that there are folks like myself and some of the other people.
It'll be local people.
Yeah,
it won't be your. I don't think you'll have people getting growlers to go back to the hotel with.
Well, you never know.
Maybe
I mean,
wrong.
I had a group of folks that were like, "Oh, do you guys sell growlers?" And I was like, and they wanted to take it back to their hotel room. In which case, I actually did do it, but.
And we've all been. I think all the establishments in Key West have kind of been okay, what the heck. So, but Danny, I think the limitation was you can't do a half gallon, right?
Yeah, the only size for some reason I
just pulled up the law.
Yeah, and for some reason in most of the country. You can get a half gallon, but for some reason in Florida, you can get here. Let me see if I can find it.
You can
pints,
get
quarts.
Right, you can get that. You can get a quart or a gallon growler, but you can't get the popular half gallon. Politically powerful distributors of a very big beer effectively blocked legislation legalizing growlers as they sought to preserve the legal structure on which their business is built. And there have been a lot of grassroots support for craft beer. As for one thing, as a tourism driver, a lot of people are coming to Florida and experiencing, Florida's great craft beer that is growing and growing. But yeah, the three-tiered system is a difficult thing. I mean, and that's the tough thing is it's putting down business, and that's just not something that most politicians really want to do. They don't want to discourage,
tax revenue.
Right, exactly.
I mean, let's make this about dollars and cents.
I'm reading. Yeah. I'm actually reading the. Legislator for it. Look, malt beverages imprint on individual container, size of containers, and exemptions. And this one right down here, as you were speaking of it, with the taxes, it actually mentions. It actually mentions about The reason that they don't do over 32 ounces is because they think people are. The way it's worded is all legal, but the way I'm reading it is, it kind of seems like they think people are going to buy a 64 ounce and they're going to go sell it somewhere else, and Florida's not going to get the taxes for it.
Really?
And that's what the and in most of the legislators,
That sounds like Anheuser-Busch.
all malt beverages
Oh,
packed.
yeah. Well, that is that.
All malt
Yes.
beverages packed in individual containers sold or offered by sale of vendors in a retail in this state shall be individual containers no more than 32 ounces of such malt beverages provided. However, nothing contained in this section shall affect malt beverages. And it goes on and it says individual container 1 gallon or more of such malt beverage regardless of individual container type is not allowed. And then if you come back up here, it talks about the taxation of how many ounces. So it's actually a taxation on everything, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's full. That's what they're worried about.
Yeah.
Florida's worried about getting their money, and that's all there is to it.
Danny,
We're getting
this-
political now.
This was an article in the Key West Citizen today.
Well, it was actually released through the Associated Press and a number
it's the
of newspapers
Oh,
throughout
okay.
the country.
Okay.
But I got it from I saw it in the Key West Citizen today, and I also saw it in Miami-Dade
Okay.
paper and like Tampa paper, a couple other places.
But you know, the locals in Key West love to go out to the pubs and the bars and the clubs.
Yeah.
And they love to socialize and they love to be there. Mm-hmm. Right now, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of people that want to take away beer. I think they want to be in the establishment and socialize.
I agree, but I think there is a market for it. And I don't mean to play devil's advocate, but I know that I'm speaking about a small group of people here in Key West. But you know, I'm part of a bottle share group here, and you know, we'd like to get together at somebody's house, someone's backyard, somebody's whatever, and share amongst ourselves, because you know that way it's communal, but still at the same time it's a large group of single-minded people.
Yeah.
And you know that comes into play. You know, house parties, dinner parties, holidays, stuff like that. I mean, like I really think that you know the traditional bring a bottle to the party is kind of changing from bring a bottle of, like, you know, wine or whiskey, what have you, to like you know, a growler full of beer. And in New York, I mean, that's very much the case. And in Brooklyn, I mean, like, everyone's bringing growlers to parties. Everyone's like, you know, whatever.
I've done that up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a thing. You know,
I think
it's
Dave's point is that you know, let's call aces aces, spades spades. We have 350 liquor licenses on an island that's 1.5 miles long by 4 miles long. 350 liquor licenses. Of those 350 liquor licenses, there might be a dozen, maybe 15 liquor stores. Everything else are bars. And, you know, I think...
Do we have that many liquor stores? Well,
maybe.
No.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm
maybe.
pulling that out of the hat.
I think it's actually
I'm thinking
a little
12
bit
to
high
15.
to say.
I might
Yeah,
be.
maybe.
I might
yeah,
be.
whatever.
Yeah.
But go on.
Yeah, but just the point is that the average consumer, for the most part, is more likely to go out to a bar. I mean, Danny and I throw barbecues almost every weekend, so you know we're also buying beer to bring home and have at the party.
Right.
But on the other hand, you know, we're here at the Cork and Stogie 2-3 nights a week, and we might be over someplace else another night during the week. So we're going out to drink at some places.
And meet our friends, yeah.
Right.
etc.
Sure.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But,
sure,
you know-
but you know, I mean, me as a bartender, I mean, just you know, okay, maybe my position is a unique one, but like, I don't always like going out
Yep.
because,
Yeah,
like, you know, hey, I do it for a living.
Well,
So this is a Funky Buddha, Hefeweizen,
Hefeweizen.
Floridian.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
That we're
Yeah,
just
that's a
finishing.
very
Thanks,
good point.
Oh, and that law, by the way, I've been sitting here wanting to say this for a little while, but that law was put in place October 1st, 1959.
Time to move into the future.
Yeah, time to move in the future,
Yeah.
folks. I'm Kevin Mark, and you're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers.
Our next beer is Impy Barbicane's Moon Gun, which is a very funny name for a beer, if you ask me. Who comes up with these names?
Do you know?
I know what the image is on the bottle, which is
tell
the
me
man
it's
in the moon.
Yes.
With a beer bottle in his eye.
But I don't know. Is that a name of a character?
It's a
from
bomber
the-
bottle in
Yes.
From the okay, all right.
All right. So so this is the again the Moon Gun, which is a session amber.
And a collaboration.
And a collaboration
Yeah, it's
between
really cool.
our friends over at Cigar City and the Dew Club guys.
Maryland.
In Maryland.
Maryland, yeah.
It's where Danny was born.
Denny's
Dew Club?
Motherland.
Motherland.
Well, in Maryland.
Maryland.
Yes.
Club. Maryland.
Yes.
In
And
fact,
this is actually produced by them.
there's a
in Maryland.
Dewclaw Brew Pub, or Dewclaw Restaurant inside the airport at BWI.
Oh, cool.
So Baltimore,
So they can
Washington
so
International.
it's owned by Duclaw.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
It's actually a Dewclaw restaurant that serves Dewclaw beer inside.
Yeah, because that's
The airport.
That was
Before
was
you get to
something-
security, no
well.
less. so.
See, here's the thing:
Nice.
and it might be a state law, but you won't find American breweries owning bars. You'll find them in England. You'll go to England, and all the pubs are owned by the breweries. Well,
Well-
not all, but most of them.
well, in
Well,
the
well,
in-
it's a brew pub.
it's a, yeah.
And
It's brewed there.
yeah,
It's brewed there, Dan.
I didn't see any tanks, but I don't know.
they,
In the airport,
they
maybe
have
not.
to make a certain amount
There.
there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that would
But
make sense.
that's
And
what I
then they
thought,
also
too.
have
Yeah.
a restaurant.
And,
they have
and
several
they have a
restaurants.
restaurant and
Yeah.
whatever, and it's yeah, you're right. Sammy Smith's has their own brew pub as well, but in outside
Yeah.
of London there.
And
but,
when I landed in Atlanta,
Yeah, but they in London they can have they don't have that.
Yeah, they don't have that law, yeah.
A brewery can open up a bar.
and when I landed in Atlanta, they had Sweetwater in there, and another Georgia brewery.
yes,
They all
do,
had
yes.
they both had
Oh,
brew
wow,
pubs
that's,
in there.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I could have stayed at Atlanta Airport for a while, but no, I only had an hour.
Well, again, one of my favorite spots in the Atlanta airport, which is really weird, that we're talking about fun things to do in airports.
Ride the monorail.
Yeah, ride the monorail. No, there's a Japanese restaurant called One Flew South that wins all types of culinary awards all
Oh,
the
I
time.
didn't see that.
It's really, really very good.
Which
and,
concourse is that in?
Terminal E, I believe.
Oh, it wasn't in E.
And they have a fantastic selection of craft beers.
Nice.
Yes.
I wish I had a longer layover, but I had the rush.
Well, yeah.
I could have,
Oh
enjoyed
no!
the airport a
I
little.
always run into One Flew South, chug 2 beers,
Yeah.
and run to whatever terminal I have to go to.
Yeah.
It's usually
I'll
on
say
the
this.
opposite side of the
I'll say
airport.
this: is that this beer is kind of it's first of all it's a lot darker than an amber ordinarily would be, but it's still
It
it still
seems-
qualifies as an amber, but it's darker than most.
It
ambers.
seems a little bit cloudier.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not like it doesn't seem unfiltered, or I mean, like Hefeweizen would be, but it just seems like less transparent, more
totally.
more
Yeah,
opaque.
Yeah, it is more. Opaque's a good word for it.
So
It's 5% alcohol, by the way.
5%. Oh, this actually has this has a lot of information on the label.
And a little bit of creosote in there.
Creosote,
Yeah, because I can just
good.
pick that out of nowhere.
so good.
Well, I can.
It's 40 IBUs.
40. Really?
So here again, this is Moon
Yeah.
Gun. Danny's got a lot of information on the label. I don't. Chris probably did the research. Is that correct? 40 IBUs.
Yeah,
Let's
40
say that
IBUs.
again. IBUs again.
Yeah,
Here we go.
there you go.
And
Because this is
a-
IBU week.
yeah,
IBU?
Ask the pub owner how many IBUs are in what beer.
but it's a session amber ale, and it's hoppy. It's very confusing beer to me.
What has a
Session
cascade-
to me is normally a hoppy beer, but an amber ale is normally not hoppy
True.
to me.
Yeah,
agree.
and 40 is high for just we've had IPAs that were 40.
It has Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Pacific Jade.
I think this is the first one that we've done that has actually Pacific
Pacific
Jade.
Jade.
in it.
I
that's
don't
what I was
remember that
thinking.
ever.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other really good ones out there that do that. And I believe Victory makes one.
I wouldn't be
But
surprised.
I have to I would have to